Hey friend, this is Rachel with CypressTextiles, and today I'm going to be making the Precious motif from the Heirloom collection blanket. Alright, so I'm going to start with a slip knot, and then I'm going to chain 3 and join with a slip stitch in the third chain from the hook. And you can make magic ring or however you like to start your projects. So we're going to do a beginning 2DC cluster right in the center, and how I do that is by making a single crochet, a chain 1, and a double crochet. And that makes our first 2DC cluster of the round. And now I'll chain 2 and then make a regular 2DC cluster. So yarn over, insert the hook, pull up a loop, draw the yarn through 2 loops on the hook, and let's do that 2 times. Now we've got 3 loops on our hook, yarn over and draw the yarn through all 3 loops, and chain 2, 2DC cluster again. And we're just going to keep going, chain 2, 2DC cluster in our ring until you have 6 2DC clusters, including the beginning one, and 6 chain 2 spaces. All right, so I'm just going to keep going there until I have 6. All right, so I have 6 2DC clusters and 6 chain 2 spaces. So I'm going to show you how to join the round, if this can focus. Okay, so I'm going to put my hook into these front 2 bars of the full double crochet of the beginning 2DC cluster, and then make my slip stitch. All right, and that way the beginning 2DC cluster looks a lot like the other ones. All right, so I've worked around over my yarn tail, so I'm just pulling that to make sure the center is really closed. And now I'm just gonna cut my yarn. And the next color we're gonna work with is our light blue. Just gonna pull my yarn there, and then I'm gonna bring my yarn tail to the back of the work. Okay, now I'm ready to work my next round. So I'm gonna take my light blue yarn, and we're gonna work a round with popcorns and chain spaces. So in any chain space, I'm going to join with a slip stitch, my light blue. Okay, and I'm gonna make a beginning popcorn. So how that works is a beginning DC, so single crochet, chain 1, and then 3 more double crochet in the same chain space. And then remove the loop from the hook, insert my hook front to back through the chain of the beginning double crochet, and grab my loop and pull it through to the front to close my popcorn. All right, and then I'm going to chain 5. And then in my next chain space, I'm going to make a regular popcorn. So that just means I'm going to do 4 double crochet in the same chain space. Release my loop, insert my hook front to back through my first double crochet, and grab my loop and pull it through to the front. Chain 5 and popcorn in the next chain space, and all the way around until you have 6 popcorns and 6 chain 5 spaces. All right, so my round is done, but I still need to join. I'm just showing you I have 6 popcorns and 6 chain spaces, and I'm going to join right in the first chain of the round into the actual chain itself with the slip stitch. Okay, so now my round is complete. I just joined into the exact first chain, not the chain space, the first chain itself of the round. All right, so now I'm ready to cut my yarn and bring my yarn tail to the back of the work. And then the next color I'm going to use is my dark blue. So for the dark blue, I'm going to slip stitch into the first chain 2 space of the first round. So I'm going to go into this chain 2 space right here before the popcorn. All right, so here's how that's going to look. I'm just going to hold my chain 5 space back because I'm not going to work into it at all. I'm just going to put my hook through the chain 2 space, but before the popcorn right there. Okay, so make sure you don't go in on this side of the chain 2 space. You need to go in right before the popcorn. And that's where I'm going to join on my dark blue with a slip stitch. And I'm going to work 2 stitches into that same chain 2 space. So they're just going to be crowded in there with this popcorn. All right, and remember, you're just gonna ignore your chain 5 space from your previous round. Don't work into it, just leave it behind and just work in front of it, I guess you would say. So I'm gonna make beginning DC. So I did my single crochet, chain 1, and then a regular DC in the same spot. Okay, so now I've got 2 double crochet there, a beginning double crochet and then a regular double crochet before my popcorn. Now I'm gonna work into my chain 5 space from the previous round. So before my popcorn, right here, I'm gonna make a single crochet. Okay, into my chain 5 space. All right, and then, so now you've got your 2 stitches before your popcorn and a single crochet in the chain 5 space from round 2. Now I'm gonna make another single crochet in the next chain 5 space, right after the popcorn. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to go after the popcorn in my chain 2 space with 2 double crochet. So ignore this again. Double crochet in that same chain 2 space you were working before, but now you're working after the popcorn. Okay, there we go. 1 double crochet and another one. Okay. So there we go there. So here's how we look. 2 double crochet, 2 single crochet, 2 double crochet. Okay, and that's gonna hold up our chain 5 spaces, and it's going to have our popcorn in between the two double crochet on either side here. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is chain 1, and then you're gonna make a 2 double crochet before the next popcorn in the next chain 2 space of round 1. So just go ahead and get ready for a double crochet. Move your chain 5 space out of the way so you can work into that chain 2 space before the popcorn, and 2 double crochet before the popcorn. Okay. Bring up your chain 5 space so you can make a single crochet in it, and then single crochet after the popcorn in the next chain 5 space, and then 2 double crochet after the popcorn in the same chain 2 space that you were working in, and just make sure you ignore your chain 5 space. Chain 1. All right, so you can kind of push your popcorns forward if they're kind of getting lost between the 2 double crochet, but don't worry, because in a later round we're going to do a front post stitch to really bring those forward. So now just continue. So just make your 2 double crochet before your popcorn, single crochet in the chain 5 space before your popcorn, and single crochet in the chain 5 space after, and 2 double crochet after your popcorn on round 1, and chain 1. Okay, so just keep on working in this manner until you are finished with your round, and then you're going to make a slip stitch in the first beginning double crochet at the beginning. Okay, so my round is finished, and I made a slip stitch in the beginning double crochet of the round, and now I'm ready to work across these 6 stitches here. I've got 2 double crochet, 2 singles, and 2 doubles, and I'm gonna make a beginning treble 6 together. Okay, so I'm gonna treble crochet 6 together over these first 6 stitches. All right, so how I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna make a single crochet, chain 2 in the first stitch, the same stitch as the joining, and then I'm gonna yarn over twice and insert my hook in the next stitch, draw up a loop and yarn over through, draw the yarn through 2 loops on the hook twice, yarn over twice again, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop and draw the yarn through 2 loops on the hook twice. All right, yarn over twice, go into the next stitch. You're just going to repeat this until all of your 6 stitches here are worked into. Okay, here we go. And there we go, and that's our last one. And the next thing that I would work into is my chain space, so we're not going to go there. So now we have 6 loops on the hook because this is a beginning treble 6 together. Draw the yarn through all 6 loops, and that is our first treble 6 together of the round. And we're kind of like developing a petal here from these 6 stitches. All right, so now I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then single crochet in my next chain 1 space right here, and then chain 5 again. And now we're going to work treble 6 together over the next 6 stitches. Okay, yarn over twice, go into the first double crochet there, draw the yarn through 2 loops on the hook twice, and then I'm just going to do this in real time. Now I'm in my single crochet and my next single crochet. Now I'm in my next double crochet and my final double crochet of the 6 stitches. Okay, now I've got 7 loops on my hook because this is a regular TR 6 together, not a beginning one. So I've got 7 loops, and I'm going to draw the yarn through all 7 loops. Okay, that's how we're looking so far, and I'm going to chain 5 and single crochet in the next chain 1 space. All right, and I'm just going to continue around making my decreased stitches, my TR 6 together, and my 2 chain 5 loops and my 6 single crochet. So that's what you're going to have when you're going all the way around. All right, so my round is done, and I joined with the slip stitch in the first chain of the first chain 5 space. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut the yarn and pull my yarn tail to the back. And then my next yarn that I'm going to use is the white yarn. So with this, we're going to make just some double crochet and some chain 1 spaces. So I'm going to join into a chain 5 space that comes after a chain 5 space that comes after a decrease. So after the TR 6 together, there's the chain 5 space that comes after that, and I'm going to, with a slip stitch, join on my white yarn, and then beginning double crochet in the same chain space. So single crochet, chain 1, and then 4 more double crochet in the same chain space. Okay, 2, 3, and 4, 3, and 4. And now I'm going to chain 1. I'm working over some yarn tails here. So I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to make 5 double crochet in the next chain space, and then chain 1, and that's just going to be our simple repeat. Chain 1 and 5 double crochet in the next chain space all the way around till we're back to the beginning. Okay, so here's how it looks so far. I'm going to chain 1 and 5 double crochet in the next chain space. And 5. And then chain 1 and just continue. Okay, here's how it looks so far. All right, so here's my completed round, and I cut my yarn. I joined with a slip stitch in the first beginning double crochet, and my next round is going to be made with light blue. So I'm going to go into the chain space above the petal right here with a slip stitch with my light blue, and I'm just going to make 3 double crochet in that same chain space as my corner. And now I'm going to work across making single crochet in all of these 11 stitches, including the chain space. So we're going to do 5, 1 in the chain space, and 5 to make 11 total. And I am going to work over these yarn tails as I go. So I'm just going to work single crochet all the way across, and then once I'm at my next corner chain space, I'm just going to make 3 single crochet in that corner. Okay, this is just a super simple single crochet round. Okay, now I'm on my next corner chain space. I can tell because I'm above a petal, and I'm going to do 3 single crochet. All right, so just keep going around with your single crochets until you're back to the beginning and slip stitch here, and then you can cut your yarn, and that's all we're going to use of the light blue. All right, so we only have 3 more rounds. I did go ahead and cut my yarn and join with a slip stitch in the first single crochet. So this is how my round looks. And now I'm going to turn my work over, and I'm just going to slip stitch in any corner stitch. All right, so if you just find your corner stitch, there you go, and you're going to join on your dark blue yarn with a slip stitch in there. And now we're going to make a mini treble bobble round. So you're going to do treble crochet stitches in between single crochets, which is going to make them squish down to the front of the work. So that's why we're working from the wrong side here. So we've turned our work over, we're working on the wrong side. And now I'm in a corner. I'm going to single crochet, treble, single crochet, all in the same corner stitch. Okay, so you can see my treble is already squishing over to the side because it has a single before it. And now when I make my next single in the same stitch, it's definitely pushed my treble out, sticking out forward to the front side of the work. And then I'm going to treble in the next stitch and single in the next stitch, and I am working over my yarn tail, and then just alternate between treble and single. There you go, treble and single. And I'll show you how the treble crochets look when they're hopping out to the front. Okay, so I'm making a treble crochet and a single, and then we're alternating. We're not working the treble and the single in the same stitch. We're alternating where stitches. So treble in the next stitch, single in the next stitch, treble in the next stitch. Oh, I messed up. Okay, and single in the next stitch. Okay, so here I'm going to show you, this is what it looks like from the wrong side, but when you flip it toward you, you can see all the trebles standing up there. When you look at it from this side, you've got your little treble bubbles. These are just tiny little bubbles, making for a great little texture. Okay, so now we're 1 stitch before our corner, and I'm going to make a treble right before the corner. And then in the corner, I'm going to do single, treble, single, all in the same stitch. And I'm just going to work across like that, alternating between treble and single on the sides. Make sure to do a treble crochet right before you get to your corner, and then single, treble, single in the corner. Okay, just like that. All right, and we're going to work around till we get back to the beginning. All right, so here's how my motif looks after that round is complete. And I did cut my dark blue yarn, and I joined with a slip stitch in the first single crochet of the round. And now I'm going to flip it over to the front, and you can see how the motif looks with the treble bubbles. And you can kind of see if your stitch placement is correct and everything by looking at it there. And now we're going to use only the white yarn for the final 2 rounds. And these are just really 2 very simple rounds. I'm just going to join with a slip stitch into a single crochet that comes before your corner treble. So your first corner single there, just make a slip stitch with your white yarn and single crochet. And then we're just going to make chain 3, single crochet in the next single. We're just going to skip over our trebles here. Chain 3, single crochet in the next single, and this is going to be all the way around. Just chain 3 and single crochet in the next single, all the way around till you get back to the beginning, and then you're going to slip stitch in the first single, and then we'll work our final round. So you're just making chain 3 spaces here. All right, so I am done with my round, and I joined with a slip stitch in the first single of the round there. And now I'm going to make my final round, which is just going to be single crochet, and that will really smooth everything out. Right now you're going to see some frills and some lumps, but that's okay. We're just going to make the next round all single crochet, and it's going to be our final round. So I'm going to do 5 singles in this first chain space because that's the corner. So 5 single crochet. 3, 4, and 5. And now I'm going to make 2 singles in the next 3 chain spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 2 single crochet in each. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. Now we're at the center chain space of the side here. I'm just going to pull this down through because you can see it from the front. So I'm not going to work over that tail after all. All right, so this is the center side chain space of the round. So I'm going to work 3 single crochet into there. 1, 2, 3, and then 2 singles in the next 3 chain spaces. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. And then in my next chain space, it's a corner, I'm going to work 5 singles. Okay, and then I'm just going to repeat that. 2 singles in the next 3 chain spaces, and then 3 singles in the next chain space. 2, 2, 2, and now 3, just to preserve our stitch count. 2 singles in the next 3 chain spaces. And then we're at our corner, so we're going to do 5 singles. Okay, you're just going to keep going around in this manner until you get back to the beginning. And when you cut your yarn, just make sure you leave a long yarn tail for whip stitching the motifs together later on when you're going to join them. All right, so here's how your motif is going to look when it's done. You're going to just keep going all the way around and slip stitch in the first stitch whenever you get back to the beginning. Okay, so here is how your motif looks when it's all complete. And just when you cut your yarn, make sure you do a long yarn tail for whip stitching. And that has been the Precious motif from the Heirloom collection blanket. And I will see you for the next one.